In the northern frontiers of Himalayas, the Ladakh is the brightest spot on Indian map. On 5th of August, to make the dreams of Ladakhis a reality, Union government made an announcement of according Ladakh Union Territory status. Following this, on 31st of October, Ladakh Union Territory came into an existence to commemorate the man who strived to unite independent India, Iron Man of India, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. To steer the Ladakh Union Territory towards progress and development, the reins are handed over to Lieutenant Governor R.K. Mathur. Highly experienced bureaucrat, and R.K. Mathur was Chief Secretary of Tripura and Secretary in various ministries in Union government, including the Defence Ministry. Under his leadership, now Ladakh has started its historic journey towards progress. To know more about the developments and the activities taken for the last 1 year, we have none other than Lieutenant Governor R.K. Mathur with us. So welcome to DD News, sir. Can you tell us, sir, what was your feeling and what were the challenges from the beginning of Ladakh Union Territory status until now, and how did the Union Territory administration has come out from those challenges?
Namaskar. First, I must thank for giving me this opportunity of reaching all my Ladakhi brothers and sisters, as well as the other parts of the country and the world. First, I must say that the date of 5th August 2019 is historic. Ladakh has launched into a new journey, a new historic journey altogether. These are the times when a state, an area, goes on a totally new path, determining their own future in a very different way from where the past was leading them. I congratulate all of the Ladakhis on this occasion. Insofar as the administration is concerned, the first thing that I must say is that this is a great challenge, this is a great honor to try and live up to that challenge. Our journey for Ladakh, which as you rightly said, is actually the crown of the country, is to make it not only the geographical crown, but also the crown of the country in every sense possible.
True, sir. Sir, when you took the charge, it was winter. How did you face the Ladakh, and how you actually have to start in a winter where actually everything is shut down here?
As I said earlier, the first challenge for us was that this is a new union territory. There was no office of Lieutenant Governor, there was no secretariat. We had a very skeleton staff, and to start these offices was itself a challenge. The winter aggravated the matters, where in Ladakh the general habit, the general practice has been that these 5 months very little government work is done, and therefore to get a government going during this period was a big challenge. We, however, did manage to do that, but more importantly, all of us realized that being a new union territory, we have to make and show a difference during winters. I am happy to inform that during this last winter, we were able to, I feel, give slightly better services to the people of Ladakh. These services include better power supply, better water supply. We brought in about over 400 metric tons of fresh vegetables, a rare commodity during winters, as well as other essential commodities. We introduced helicopter services through Air Force to evacuate the passengers or the patients from different remote areas. We also moved a large number of passengers from Kargil particularly, and also from Leh, because they had no other connectivity, particularly Kargil, but for the Indian Air Force service. Insofar as road connectivity is concerned, I am happy to say that we tried to take steps to connect Zojila Pass, that is connection to Srinagar, as well as the road to Manali as early as possible. The Border Road Organization came up very well, and this year we were able to open the two passes almost 1 month earlier than the normal past trend. This must have given some benefits to the local people.
So what are the achievements we have so far reached as Union Territory Ladakh administration in the last 1 year? To be precisely, it's 9 months.
See, first I would like to talk of what is the expectation. The expectation of the people of Ladakh is almost the same as in other parts of the country. The entire population expects better health facility, better education facilities, better higher education facilities, better roads, better internet connectivity, better telecom connectivity, better road connectivity, and so on. This is something which is common, and the expectation of the people is that this administration should be able to give better performance, better results during this period which is coming forward for us. There are also, I have seen, certain apprehensions. People talk of availability of jobs for the local population. They talk of protection of environment. They talk of protection of environment. They talk in terms of fear of inundation of outsiders and therefore the need to protect the land. Today, I would like to assure every person from Ladakh that their concerns are very well understood, that the administration is fully prepared and determined to come up to their expectations in terms of the facilities, in terms of protections that they strive for. As we all know that when it became a functioning union territory, we were already in the midst of a Ladakh winter, and unfortunately as soon as the winters were over, we got into the COVID, the corona pandemic, which is still continuing. Therefore, the time available with this administration for actual groundwork has been limited. However, to answer the query raised by you, I would say that the first thing that we started was to open up and start activities in terms of agriculture, which was extremely important for the entire union territory. I'm happy to say that this year, compared to the previous years, the area under cultivation has gone up by almost 20%. The other interesting thing which we were able to achieve was greater care for the Pashmina goats, particularly in the Changthang region. I'm happy to inform that our latest survey has indicated that the population of Pashmina goat has increased by as much as 6%, partly result of weather, partly result of efforts put in by administration in terms of giving them much better medical facilities than in the previous years. In fact, I am proud to say that Krishi Vigyan Kendra, NYOMA, which looks after Changthang area, has been adjudged the best KVK in the northern region by Indian Council of Agriculture Research. These are some examples which I have given, but naturally the administration does a whole lot of things on its own. The administration gets a lot of support and projects from Government of India. Firstly, if I may state as to the care and attention that has been paid by the union government to this new union territory of Ladakh. As we all know, in the J&K Reorganization Act of 2019, a commitment was made, and this is altogether a new thing. I don't remember an act which makes such commitments, that Ladakh shall be given a special development package. And the union government has honored that commitment. In the first year itself, a budgetary allocation of about 5,200 crores was made, and in the current financial year, Government of India has made an allocation of almost 5,900 crore rupees. This is the sort of funding which has never come to this union territory. And I'm sure that this funding, which ultimately would be non-lapsable in nature, would go a long way in improving particularly the infrastructure, the higher education, the income generating sectors of Ladakh. Government of India also took steps to introduce several new institutions. I would list some of them. A new medical college, a new engineering college in Kargil, G.B. Pant Institute of Mountain Studies, a new national center for training. The center is actually an extension branch. National Institute of Sova Rigpa. These are some of the institutions. Institute of Hotel Management, which has been sanctioned, an Institute of Mountain Studies, which is being talked of, a central university, which has recently been announced. So a large number of institutions of higher studies have been announced, and they will surely come on the ground in due course. Many other similar activities have been approved by the Government of India, which include sanctions for making both Kargil and Leh as smart cities, which would, for a place which attracts a lot of tourists, it would make this place a much better destination for people.
This special package which is given to Ladakh region, which is, as you said, is enormous and unprecedented. How Union Territory Administration is planning to spend this for the concrete development of Ladakh region?
The Honorable Home Minister had announced that this package would amount to about rupees 50,000 crores. This is a phenomenal amount, and I am sure that with this amount, which, as I said earlier, would be non-lapsable in nature, the Union Territory Administration proposes to focus very substantially on infrastructure development, higher education development, and development in the field of economic activities. Let me give some examples. On the infrastructure side, we would talk in terms of the different tunnels. It may be Khardungla, it may be Changla, it may be Fotula, it may be Namkila, it may be several other small passes which make our lives difficult, which makes many areas inaccessible. But with this, I am sure that lives of the people would definitely improve.
How these developmental activities around the Leh Ladakh area and administration might have identified certain priority sectors, including like you were saying infrastructure areas. Are there any other priority sectors like power supply, schools, like this?
Let me talk of some other areas which I expect special development package to cover. Okay. One area, as you rightly said, would be the transmission lines. Today, every household in Ladakh aspires not just for a local grid in terms of solar power, it aspires for a proper grid connectivity with the northern grid. This is, considering the large area of Ladakh, a very expensive and a time-consuming proposition. However, as part of a special development package, a decision has been taken to strengthen the entire transmission network to reach as many homes as becomes possible for the government to do. Similarly, the efforts shall be in terms of improving the higher education. As we know, a new Union Territory controlled Ladakh University has already come into existence and has become functional. Now the endeavor would be that this university not only gives the courses which are normally given by a university, but also tries to give courses which are much more relevant for the needs of Ladakh. These may include mountain studies, it may include hospitality management, it may mean environment studies for the glaciers as well as for the unique geological features which Ladakh possesses. So higher studies would form a very important part. Another important area under SDP shall be development of the primary sector, which includes not only agriculture but areas like apricot, apples, that is horticulture. It would include medicinal and aromatic plant. It would include processing of the produce of these fruits. This, I feel, is a very important activity which gives an alternative to tourism sector in Ladakh, and we intend to work on that. In the same manner, Pashmina goat and the world famous Pashmina wool, which is really the heritage of Ladakh, is something on which we would work on from end to end. That is, looking after the welfare and well-being of the Pashmina goat and right up to producing final products of Pashmina. This is something which a lot of young entrepreneurs of Ladakh have already started doing, and it would be our endeavor to facilitate and deepen their efforts.
Modi scheme also you launched with a very good intentions of making Ladakh as an organic state by 2025. Can you throw some light on that and how you are going to and how this is going to help Ladakhi people?
As we all know, the vision of Honorable Prime Minister is that Ladakh should be carbon neutral. We already had a conference on this subject with a variety of experts, and their recommendations are already with us. Among the recommendations, it is also a decision that we would convert Ladakh into an organic state by 2025 through a scheme which has been called in honor of our Honorable Prime Minister as Modi itself. Modi stands for Mission Organic Development Initiative. This scheme shall firstly target on making our agriculture totally free from chemical fertilizers, chemical insecticides, chemical pesticides. This would be replaced by biogenerated fertilizers, sites, pesticides, on which we would work. We have started the work. As I said, this was our target that by 2025, Ladakh should be totally organic. Another initiative in the primary sector which we have taken is launching a scheme for greenhouses made out of polycarbonate sheets. With these sheets, we can get the much needed vegetables during the harsh winters of Ladakh. We are expecting that some of these greenhouses shall be in position during the current winters itself, and their numbers would grow, so that the target being that during next year's winters, we should be able to substantially produce vegetables for our own need. This is a dramatic difference which would occur. Some of the people actually say that the micronutrients which the vegetables provide is something which has been missing from the diet of Ladakh people. It is also called in some senses a hidden hunger. And this is something which we are hoping would get addressed by the new scheme of the polyhouses or greenhouses.
So, if you look at Ladakh, I think this is the first time, the second year, now you can say, is experiencing grassroots level democracy. And you have been meeting for the last 1 year, all Panchayat members and all. How you are going to support as Union Territory Ladakh administration, the grassroots level administrations?
Well, I think Ladakh has become a huge administrative experiment and a huge administrative challenge also. As I said earlier, setting up a LG office and a secretariat is something new. The second new thing is the empowering and substantial strengthening by law of the two Ladakh Autonomous Hill Development Councils in Leh and Kargil through an amendment which was actually done in 2018, but which was again vetted and approved by the parliament of this country. The third administrative change which has taken place is elections at the panchayat level, both for the blocks as well as the villages. And therefore, one can imagine that from the LG office to the Gram Panchayat, a whole new administrative structure has come into being in Ladakh. The challenges are tremendous. Who is to do what? How would you do it? These are the things which are exercising the minds of the people. The panchayat people come to me and say that, what am I supposed to do? How do I do Manrega programs? How do I do 14th Finance Commission programs? How do I do electronic signatures? These are the challenges. Where is my office? Where is my money for even providing tea to the visitors who come to meet me? This is a challenge right at the grassroots level, and we are addressing it. A large number of BDC chairmen were sent out for training to National Institute of Rural Development in Hyderabad. They have come back somewhat richer. We have organized local trainings, for example, to teach them how to do electronic signature to be able to draw money. Now, this is something which takes time to come into being and to work on the ground. The people are also not used to this new institution. They also have to learn and understand how the panchayats work. The next stage, the two councils have been in existence for quite some time in Ladakh. However, with their increased budget, the greater power which have been vested with them, They have to understand, they have to see how they work with UT administration, how they work with the panchayats. This itself is a very big challenge, and this sort of things take time to come into position, even though the legal positions may be very clear. When things happen on the ground, when it is interaction among people, these become challenges. Now, this is one of the big challenges that the UT administration is facing today, and we are very sure that both the councils as well as the panchayat systems would come out more strong, better functioning in near future. We are planning very large scale interactions with them. We are planning a lot of training, and you would be happy to know that this year both the councils have got budgets which are probably 2 to 3 times at least higher than the budgets they were getting in the past. Almost 232 crores of budget for each of the two councils. It is a challenge for the councils to spend, and the administration, other than training, in fact, both the councils were sent on training programs to other parts of the country to see the functionings of the Zilla Parishads, other councils, etc. We have been trying to strengthen their setup also. We have recruited as many as 199 engineers so that the blocks can function better. We have tried to put maximum possible number of BDOs in position. We are trying to take steps to put accounts assistants in the blocks. Unless and until the two councils are strengthened in terms of their ability to implement projects on the ground, this increased budgetary allocations spending that would remain a challenge. The administration is determined to hold hands and work together with the councils to ensure that whatever bigger benefits are coming, they are able to provide it to the people of Ladakh.
So, if we look at Ladakh was supposed to take off in the month of March for the season, for be it tourism or be it otherwise also. But we were hit by COVID-19, and that was followed by Indochina tensions also, border tensions also. Then how the major tourism sector is now hit, and how Union Territory Administration is going to support the tourism and tourism dependents.
Tourism was opened up in Ladakh in 1974. Over the years, it has grown to almost 600 crores economy. In some way or the other, almost 60 to 70% of the population of Ladakh is engaged with tourism, whether it is as a humble porter, whether it is a travel agency, whether it is a pony rider, whether it is a hotel owner. All of these people contribute and get work out of tourism industry. As you rightly said, this industry has been badly hit. Not only in Ladakh, but in the rest of the country, in the rest of the world. It is important for us to deal with it in two different ways. One, that a very substantive dependence on tourism has to be minimized by way of making alternative sources of income available. I have talked of the alternative sources of income mostly in the primary sector, that is whether it is Pashmina goat and Pashmina, whether it is horticulture in terms of apples, apricots, other dry fruits, medicinal plants, aromatic plants. These are the things which in a crisis situation like this help the population to tide over the crisis. However, I still feel that tourism would continue and in fact grow to be an extremely important sector of the economy of Ladakh. We have a large budget of 347 crores in the current financial year for tourism. With this budget, what we are attempting is there are subsidies which were due to hotel owners, which were not given because of the division of Jammu and Kashmir from Ladakh. We are trying to give those subsidies so that there is some money in the hands of hotel people. Under the Atmanirbhar scheme of the Honorable Prime Minister, we are taking steps so that all hotels are registered as MSME units. With this registration, they become entitled to certain emergency loans, certain concessions, which I am sure would be helping them. We are also in the process of bringing out an incentive policy for the tourism sector, which in many ways would be helping in terms of infrastructure, in terms of training of the people. Basically, the incentive policy would be aimed at making the tourism industry stronger, better tourism product than it had been offering. So far as the hotel industry and the administration is concerned, we are treating this difficult time as time to consolidate, to bring up our own strengths, so that as and when the tourist sector opens up, we can come back stronger and better.
So if we look at to reach the development or progress to the villages, road connectivity is the priority. And you have several agencies here like BRO and the local PWD. How you are making best of these two organizations under the national highways also?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, under Special Development Package, we have funds not only for the tunnels that I spoke of earlier, but also for improving the actual road infrastructure. We are already getting funds under Government of India schemes, namely PMGSY for the village roads, CRF for major roads. CRF, in fact, a major project which has been sanctioned is a road between Kargil and Padam, which I hope would be an all-weather road. This is something on which work has already started. The bigger problem is that the roads which have already been constructed, almost 3,000 to 4,000 kilometers of roads are not black-topped. This is something which we need to address. Similarly, a large number of village roads have been made under Manrega program, etc. Now, these have remained kacha, but they are extremely important for the villagers. Now, this is the category of roads which we hope under the Special Development Package we would be blacktopping. So, it would imply that starting from national highways to important roads within the state and also the village roads, at all three levels, we would be trying to provide much better quality of road. It is obvious that this large amount of fund and this large amount of work which is available to us cannot be done by the state PWD alone. The Union Territory Administration, in consultation with PWD, has decided that we would try to engage as many agencies as possible to take up this work. This may include CPWD, this may include NHIDCL, it may include BRO, it may include NBCC, and so on. These are the central government agencies which are available. CPWD has already posted a chief engineer here. Similarly, other organizations have already posted some of their staff. We are hoping that by distributing work among all of these agencies, this large volume of work and the fund available with us, we would be able to do much more work than what would have normally happened in Ladakh.
So you may be the first person who have toured almost all areas of Ladakh region and met the people, and you have seen the pulse of people and aspirations of public. And how do you see Union Territory Administration is realizing their aspirations, and how do you see the future of Union Territory Ladakh?
Firstly, I would say that during my tours and various interactions, meetings in Leh itself, I have developed a great respect for the people of Ladakh. The qualities of the people are tremendous. Today, if I go to the Leh main market, I would hardly find anybody who's not wearing a mask. I am prepared to say that in no part of the country I would see a population as disciplined as I have seen here. It comes as a surprise. It develops a great respect for the people of this land. Their aspirations, their apprehensions, I have mentioned right in the beginning. The aspirations naturally are that I get good health facilities, good education facilities, I get good infrastructure, I get good telecom, I get good internet, and so on. These are something which everybody expects. Their apprehensions in terms of jobs, environment, social culture, these are all clearly known, clearly understood, and clearly appreciated. This is something which the Union Territory Administration is working on, and it is not as if the results come in one day or 1 year. We have the funds, we have the great asset of a disciplined, cultured manpower of Ladakh. There is no reason why with money, opportunities and a very, if I may use the word, very disciplined and very valued population here. There is absolutely no reason why Ladakh cannot grow. The nature has given a lot of assets. You have primary sector where animal husbandry can be very strong. You have horticulture, aromatic and medicinal plant sector. You have tourism. You have non-conventional energy. You have energy in terms of geothermal energy. You have hydel energy. You have wind energy. You have solar energy. All of them put together can generate something like 35,000 megawatt of power. In fact, I visualize in due course Ladakh becoming as the non-conventional or renewable energy capital of the country. Just something which is a dream which one can aspire for. Similarly, in terms of manpower, we can dream of a very literate, highly educated, highly cultured population in future which would come out as a result of the new institutions, higher education institutions that are coming up, the emphasis on enumeration and strengthening, deepening of the cultural values of the people here. These are the things which would lead to the Ladakhi culture becoming much more established. The new education policy, as you know, is talking in terms of both culture as well as native language being made a part of the education system. This is also something which would definitely contribute to the deepening and strengthening of the culture of Ladakh. I would only like to say that the effort for the UT administration would be to achieve in administrative terms as much of development in health, agriculture, tourism and so on in all of these sectors. The objective also is that deepen and strengthen the cultural values of Ladakh. The effort is also that we look not only for jobs, we also look for creation of jobs, which is something which our Honorable Prime Minister has been emphasizing, that the new education policy doesn't aim at just educating. It aims at generating skills with a view to generating jobs. Every person, every Ladakhi should be able to generate jobs. This would be our endeavor in future. Basically, what we are looking for is a healthy, strong, literate Ladakh which stands much richer than what it is today.
So finally, on the first anniversary of Union Territory status to Ladakh, what do you want to say to the public here?
Well, for the public, my message is very simple. Firstly, I really respect and appreciate the discipline, the culture, the accomplishments of the people of Ladakh. I respect the strive, the drive to become better, to become richer, to become happier, to become more deeply entrenched, to be more cognizant of their own culture. This is something which we would work together with the people of Ladakh to achieve.
And this is our Lieutenant Governor R.K. Mathurji and sharing his thoughts with Ladakh people and with the nation about the future of Ladakh. And yes, there are difficulties and challenges right now. And the Union Territory Administration is determined to overcome all these challenges in future. This is Ramesh Chandra.